I've always wanted to meet her, and she was a queen always. When I met her, we met at this jazz club. From the outside, Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet's love story seemed destined to last forever. They had built a life that many admired, one filled with adventure, deep connection, and unwavering support. But behind the scenes, cracks were forming, subtle at first, then impossible to ignore. Now, after 1 year, Jason is finally revealing why their seemingly perfect marriage came to an end, and his words shocked even those closest to him. At one point, he even admitted, "She's disgusting." But what did he really mean? Was it a moment of anger, or was there something deeper that had been brewing for years? Join us as we delve deeper into the truth behind their breakup, uncovering their hidden struggles, personal sacrifices, and the unexpected revelations that changed everything. Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet's love story felt like something out of a dream, one that, for a time, seemed unbreakable. From the moment they met, Jason was captivated, believing Lisa was the woman he had waited for his entire life. But what starts as a fairy tale doesn't always guarantee a happy ending. Even the strongest connections can fade, and sometimes, admiration can turn into something far more complicated. Their journey began in 2005 at a jazz club in Los Angeles, where fate seemed to bring them together. Jason, the young actor still finding his place in Hollywood, had admired Lisa from afar long before they met. As a child, he watched Lisa's iconic portrayal of Denise Huxtable on The Cosby Show and was captivated by her beauty. This childhood admiration was something he carried with him into adulthood, often joking with friends that he would one day marry her. What had started as a childhood crush somehow materialized into reality. The moment he laid eyes on her, Jason knew he had to make an impression. He was smitten. But was Lisa? There was an undeniable chemistry between them. Despite their age difference, Lisa, 12 years older, had already experienced love, heartbreak, and motherhood. She was composed, wise, and grounded. Jason, on the other hand, was a wild spirit, full of energy, humor, and an almost childlike enthusiasm. Yet she was still drawn to him. Jason was equally mesmerized by her deep intelligence and calmness, qualities he had admired from afar but had never fully understood until he experienced them firsthand. Their connection was immediate. Jason's free-spirited and adventurous nature balanced Lisa's grounded, serene energy. Their relationship deepened, built on passion, adventure, and a deep emotional connection. By the time their first daughter, Lola, was born in 2007, it was clear that this wasn't just a fleeting romance, it was the start of a new family, one built on trust, mutual respect, and unconditional love. When their second child, Nicole Wolf, arrived in 2008, their commitment to one another only grew stronger. Their bond appeared unshakable, but as life often proves, appearances can be deceiving. When they finally made it official in 2017, marrying in a private and intimate ceremony, it seemed like the perfect ending to their love story. Yet behind the glowing headlines and adoring social media posts, something else was happening. The seeds of their separation weren't planted overnight, and though Jason once thought Lisa was his forever, the cracks that had been quietly forming would soon become impossible to ignore. Every love story has its challenges, but for Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet, the cracks in their seemingly perfect marriage weren't just whispers in the dark, they were real, growing, and becoming too big to overlook. What once made them inseparable began to pull them apart. The question wasn't just what went wrong, but when did Jason start to see Lisa in a different light? For years, Jason and Lisa projected the image of a couple deeply in sync, effortlessly balancing family life with their respective careers. But while Jason's star power skyrocketed, propelling him into the heart of Hollywood with blockbuster movies and endless opportunities, Lisa's world was a different story. Having already experienced the highs and lows of life, she found comfort in a quieter existence, far from the relentless pace of fame. Her priorities had shifted towards stability and balance, focusing on her family and maintaining peace. The man she fell in love with had been chasing his dreams, but now he was living them, and that life looked very different from the one she had envisioned. Jason's rise to international fame with Aquaman meant relentless filming schedules, global premieres, and an ever-growing public presence. With each new role, each red carpet event, he was pulled further from the home they built together. Meanwhile, Lisa, who had already lived through Hollywood chaos in her younger years, had no desire to step back into the limelight. She valued privacy, quiet moments, and the grounding presence of their family in Los Angeles. At first, the physical distance was manageable, but as time went on, it became more than just miles, it became emotional. Jason was constantly surrounded by a fast-paced, ever-changing world of new co-stars, industry executives, and high-profile connections. Lisa, on the other hand, found herself standing still, waiting for the man who had once been hers completely. Adding fuel to the fire was Lisa's close relationship with her ex-husband, Lenny Kravitz. Though Jason had always been understanding of their co-parenting dynamic, insiders say their strong friendship began to weigh on him. The frequent presence of Lenny in their lives, coupled with the fact that Lisa maintained such a strong emotional connection to her past, created a subtle but persistent tension. Jason, despite publicly expressing admiration for Lenny, struggled with the constant reminder of the life Lisa had before him. He had worked tirelessly to create a life with Lisa, but in some ways, he always felt like he was sharing her. Was he just another chapter in her story, or was he truly the one? And then came the moment that changed everything. A single comment, one that Jason would later regret, sparked a realization he could no longer push aside. A friend recalls a heated moment when Jason, overwhelmed by frustration, allegedly muttered under his breath, "She's disgusting." But was this an attack on Lisa, or was it something deeper, a reflection of his own resentment, his own unhappiness? The tension only grew. The couple's different approaches to parenting became another point of contention. Lisa, structured and disciplined, wanted stability for their children, while Jason's more laid-back, free-spirited style embraced a more unstructured, adventurous approach. What once made them a great team now became a source of constant disagreement. Then, in 2020, the world changed. The COVID-19 pandemic forced them to spend more time together, something that should have brought them closer. Instead, it exposed the deepening rift and magnified their differences. Jason Momoa found solace in routine and reflection while Jason, used to movement and action, felt trapped. The emotional space between them seemed impossible to bridge. By the time their separation was publicly announced, the writing had been on the wall for years. Jason had finally come to terms with something painful but undeniable: the love that once felt unshakable had become a weight neither of them could carry anymore. By January 2022, what had been whispered behind closed doors was finally out in the open. Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet shocked the world with the unexpected announcement of their separation. After more than 12 years of dating and 4 years of marriage, the couple released a heartfelt joint statement on social media, confirming that they had been quietly separated since October 2020. For fans who had long admired their relationship, the revelation felt like a gut punch. How could two people who embodied devotion and harmony have drifted so far apart? By January 2023, their divorce was officially finalized in a Los Angeles court, closing one of Hollywood's most admired relationships. No scandal, no dramatic courtroom battles, just a dignified farewell to the life they built together. The divorce document stated that the reason for their split was irreconcilable differences, a phrase that often hints at deeper, untold conflict. But for Jason and Lisa, the meaning behind those words went far beyond a legal formality. Despite everything, their approach to ending their marriage was a model of maturity and respect. Neither party sought spousal or child support, and both waived any financial claims, suggesting they had already privately worked out their financial matters. There were no accusations, no bitter exchanges, just two people quietly accepting that their love had run its course. The public was quick to commend the couple for their calm and respectful approach. In an industry where personal lives are often torn apart for public consumption, Jason and Lisa chose a different path. They've always been private people, and they've done everything they can to keep their personal lives just that, personal, said a close friend of the couple. Their focus was always on their children and making sure they were okay. The divorce was no different, it was about making sure they didn't add stress to their kids' lives. At the heart of their decision was their unwavering dedication to their children, Lola and Nicole Wolf. For all the changes unfolding in their lives, one thing remained certain: Lola and Nicole Wolf would never have to choose sides. They agreed on joint legal and physical custody, ensuring that both parents would play an equally active role in their children's lives, even if they were no longer together as a couple. It was a silent promise to protect them from the turbulence that so often accompanies high-profile breakups. But even in the smoothest of separations, emotions linger. Behind the amicable terms and peaceful resolutions, Jason was grappling with something deeper, something that, in time, he would finally admit. Because while the world saw a couple gracefully parting ways, Jason knew that somewhere along the way, something had been lost. The truth comes out. Jason Momoa opens up about the real reasons for the split. For months, Jason remained silent, allowing the world to speculate. Rumors swirled, theories spread, and whispers of infidelity, career conflicts, and hidden betrayals filled the headlines. But Jason wasn't ready to talk, not until now. Following their divorce, he found himself standing at the crossroads of his life, celebrated for his success but carrying the weight of an ending he never truly saw coming. At first, he avoided the questions, brushing off speculation with polite smiles and vague answers. But as time passed, the need to tell his side of the story became impossible to suppress. And when he finally spoke after 1 year, his words painted a picture far more complex than anyone had imagined. In an exclusive interview, Jason finally opened up about the undercurrents that had slowly eroded his marriage. The truth was painful, but it was also liberating. He had spent years keeping his personal struggles behind a veneer of success, but now he was ready to confront the reality of what had happened. A few years ago, I was struggling to find work. Now my career is booming, he began, his voice steady but tinged with the weight of reflection. There's a certain pride that comes with success, but what nobody tells you is that it comes at a price. Jason paused. He was clearly processing more than just the words he was speaking. This wasn't just about a failed marriage, it was about everything that success had taken from him. Lisa had no interest in joining me on every location I film at. She enjoys her life in LA, he admitted. The simple honesty in his tone contrasted with the glamorous image that so often surrounded him. Insiders close to the couple confirmed that the strain between him and Lisa wasn't something that could be easily ignored or easily fixed. The distance, both physical and emotional, had become insurmountable. For years, Jason had been just another actor trying to secure his next role, navigating an industry that offered no guarantees. But then came Aquaman, and everything changed. Overnight, Jason became a global star, swept into a life of relentless travel, high-stakes deals, and non-stop publicity. He found himself living a life that he had only dreamed of. The work never stops. The shooting schedules are grueling. The press tours are endless, Jason reflected. I've been on the move for years now. The time zones are constantly shifting, and I barely have a moment to breathe. But what I didn't realize was that the person who had always been by my side, the one who had been there during the tough times, was being left behind. The more I chased success, the further I moved away from her. There was a profound sadness in his voice as he recalled the countless times Lisa had stayed behind, choosing to remain in their home in Los Angeles while Jason jetted off to another filming location. He was chasing something else, something that took him further and further away from the life they had built. The core of our issues wasn't just about distance, Jason admitted. It was about how success changed me. I became someone I didn't recognize. And in the process, I lost the person who knew me better than anyone else. Lisa, by contrast, had always valued stillness. She found joy in simple pleasures, in the grounding energy of home. Jason, however, was living in a world that demanded more. She doesn't need the constant of fame and fortune, he confessed. She wanted peace. I was chasing greatness, but she was looking for something else, something quieter. It was a slow realization, creeping in like a shadow. What had once been a perfect balance, their fire and water, their adventure and stability, had tipped too far. Jason finally admitted what many had suspected: we had simply grown apart. It wasn't about betrayal or a single explosive fight. It was the quiet, undeniable truth that our lives were moving in different directions. I think we both realized that our lives were no longer aligned, he said. We were just two people going in different directions, and we couldn't force something that wasn't there anymore. It wasn't anyone's fault. Just what happens when life takes you in different directions. And then, just when it seemed he had said it all, Jason let slip a remark that sent the internet into a frenzy. At some point, you start seeing things differently. There were moments when I looked at her and thought she was disgusting. For a second, the interviewer was stunned. The words sounded brutal, harsh even. But Jason quickly clarified. "Not in the way people think," he said, shaking his head. "I mean, we became strangers. The way we saw each other, how we used to admire one another, respect one another, it changed. And when that admiration is gone, it's hard to pretend." Jason's words weren't an attack, they were an admission of something painful, something raw. The person he had once adored, the woman who had been his world, no longer looked the same to him. And he knew deep down that she felt the same way about him. As the interview came to a close, it was clear that Jason had finally made peace with what had happened. His professional life had reached unimaginable heights, but it had cost him something irreplaceable. And sometimes, the hardest lesson of all is realizing that even the deepest love can fade when two people are no longer walking the same path. Amid the emotional turmoil of their divorce, Jason and Lisa found an unexpected source of healing: their children. While their marriage may have ended, their roles as parents became more important than ever. Their two young children, Lola and Nakoa Wolf, became the steadfast anchor that kept them grounded and offered a sense of purpose in an otherwise chaotic time. Through all the changes, one thing became clear: Jason and Lisa were no longer partners, but they would always be family. Their ability to co-parent with grace and respect became an inspiration, showing that even when love changes form, it doesn't have to disappear. As time passes, fans of Jason and Lisa can't help but speculate about the possibility of reconciliation. Now, Jason's life is busy, exciting, and filled with new opportunities. Yet, there's always a subtle acknowledgement of his past with Lisa, an undercurrent that leaves fans wondering if the door to reconciliation is truly closed or if it's merely waiting for the right moment. For now, there are no clear answers, only possibilities. The future remains unwritten, and only time will tell if Jason and Lisa's story is truly over or if fate has one final twist left in store. What do you think about Jason and Lisa's relationship? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.